I'm hoping to come in and just provide above average solid quarterback play and give us something consistent week in and week out at the quarterback position.
There is a lot of buzz for tonight's CFL game between the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Much of it surrounds Alouettes quarterback Johnny Manziel. He's a former U.S. college football star and Heisman Trophy winner, but he comes with a bit of baggage. The CBC's Douglas Gellivan is in Montreal, where tonight's game will take place. Douglas, what's the anticipation been like?
It's been huge, Deborah. You know, the Alouettes haven't had a lot of reasons for the fans to come out to the stadium in recent years, but they said when they announced that Johnny Manziel was going to be the starter for this game, they had their biggest single day of sales leading up to that game. The Alouettes have won only one of their last 17 games, so the fans have been starving for anything exciting to come out there and watch, and Johnny Manziel is certainly a guy who can deliver that. He's a scramble-style quarterback, and in college, the reason that he became so big is that he was kind of doing things on the field that you would only see in PlayStation games, scrambling, extending plays, turning plays that looked like they were dead into touchdowns. And that's something that the Montreal Alouettes fans have just been starving for here. Manziel is a huge story south of the border as well because he won the Heisman Trophy at such a young age, and the way that his NFL career just completely burned out as well. U.S. networks are carrying this game. They've been talking about it all week. It is one of the first times that the Montreal Alouettes have been in this big of a profile, and it's all because of Johnny Manziel and his star power that he is bringing to the field tonight.
So just a little bit of pressure on Manziel for tonight's game, I imagine.
Yes, there's a little bit, but he's kind of trying to downplay it because he says that he's had pressure before. You know, starting in the NFL, he's dealt with that situation, and coming here, he's just trying to tamp down expectations a little bit and do his thing out there. But you have to believe that this is going to be his last opportunity to really reestablish himself as a legitimate football player. And if he doesn't get it done here, it's not going to happen anywhere else. And as for the Montreal Alouettes football team, well, they're trying to take a little bit of the pressure off Johnny Manziel too, because he was asked earlier this week, how long of a leash do you think you have out there? If you start making mistakes, will you get pulled right away? And he says, I didn't even think I have a leash. And that's because the Alouettes don't really have the luxury of being able to pull him for somebody else. They've made so many errors at the quarterback position over the last couple of years. Since Anthony Calvillo played his last game in 2013, they've had 13 different starting quarterbacks. Johnny Manziel will be the 14th starting quarterback since only 2013. But Manziel trying to keep it all in perspective for the game tonight.
I'm hoping to come in and just provide above average solid quarterback play and give us something consistent week in and week out at the quarterback position. That's what I want to do. I don't feel I need to come up here and completely light everything on fire and throw for 500 yards a game and do this and do that. I just want to come in and be a solid starter.
And Deborah, the other level to this game is that the Montreal Alouettes, although they've only had one win in their first 6 games of the season, the CFL's Eastern Conference is so weak right now that if they win the game tonight over Hamilton, well, that would put them into 2nd place and back into a playoff spot. So if Manziel starts doing well, they could actually start playing some games of consequence, therefore ratcheting up the pressure and maybe more anticipation from the fans as the season moves on.
Yeah, a lot at stake with this game tonight. Thanks so much, Douglas Gellivan in Montreal. For more on this much-anticipated debut, we connect with author and journalist H.G. Buzz Bissinger. He went to Texas to write the best-selling book Friday Night Lights, A Town, a Team, and a Dream. That book inspired the TV series of the same name. Bissinger is in Long Beach, Washington. Buzz, a lot of people paying attention to this. We just heard Doug allude to that. A lot of media attention here on both sides of the border. What is it about his story that's causing so much attention?
Well, you know, Johnny has always been controversial, really, since high school, and then he went to Texas A&M, which is a big-time football power. Great player, exciting player, almost an underdog player because he doesn't have typical quarterback size, but he likes to scramble, he likes to run, he likes to make great, exciting plays. And, you know, off the field, he could be a smack ass. He could be a wise ass, you know, charging for autographs. And that just added to the aura of him being kind of this bad boy with a lot of upside potential that he's never shown. since college.
You know, he's got quite a story to him. He was a first-round pick for the Cleveland Browns. Since then, he's made headlines, though, for a lot of the wrong reasons. He's admitted problems with drugs and alcohol. What do you think? Is he deserving of this second chance?
Look, I think anyone's deserving of a second chance, but when you think about it, the media hype is kind of insane. Here's a guy, he was great at Texas A&M, he went to the NFL, he went to the Cleveland Browns, they were lousy, he was worse, he bombed out, he's into alcohol, all sorts of things, acting out, and now it's sort of like the second coming of God in football. I actually like him. He's one of the most exciting college players I ever saw. He was electric. And I think he'd be good for Canadian football. I think he has no shot of ever going back to the NFL. I just don't. He's not the right size. And look, the CFL is complicated. A lot of American players say, you think it's a cakewalk. It's very, very hard to adjust to the style of play and the wide open field. And I don't think Johnny has a lot of time.
I don't want to be negative here, but what if things don't go well for Manziel? What do you think that could mean for him?
Well, we'll see if he's grown up. In normal circumstances, when he's met with adversity, he is sunk into bad patterns. If it doesn't work out, then his football career is over. And, generally that's when, it's pedal to the metal. Are you strong enough? Have you grown up enough? Or is it going to be a struggle? History would suggest it's going to be hard, because then, frankly, he's a has-been. He's a nobody. He's Johnny Manziel, who won the Heisman and then, bombed out for all sorts of reasons.
Quite something, though, when you think of it. He's only 25 years of age, though.
Right.
It would be difficult to look at that, and consider the possibility of being a has-been at 25. He made his name in Texas in high school and college, where he won, of course, that Heisman. He had the name, that nickname, Johnny Football. As someone who documented football in Texas, does he carry a bit of that, Lone Star State in his personality?
Yeah, I mean, there's a brashness to him. There's a confidence that some would say borders on overconfidence. I don't think it did in college. And by the way, a lot of Friday Night Lights was about high school kids becoming has-beens at the age of 17 or 18. No memory is shorter than that of the fan for the athlete who doesn't perform up to expectations. But yes, Johnny had a brashness. Johnny was confident. Johnny didn't care what other people thought. I like that about him, and I'd love to see him, excel. But the Montreal team is not very good. Hamilton traded him really, really quickly, and I just don't know what the heck's going to happen. But you know what? I'm going to watch.
Manziel so far said done all of the right things since coming to Canada. Do you think he can carve out a career in football in Canada? You've already said not in the NFL, but in Canada?
Yeah, I mean, I think he needs to get off to a good start, because otherwise this becomes kind of a circus show. We watch him for a game, he doesn't do very well, and then we lose interest. If he gets out of the box well, if he gains his own confidence, remember, he hasn't played organized football in 2 years. If he gains real confidence, sure, I think he can, because fundamentally he is an exciting player. And the quarterback he lost out to in Hamilton is only 5'11", so size should not be that big a problem for him, and it is a wide open field. I hope he succeeds. I hope he does. He was sort of damned if he did and damned if he didn't. He was too brash. He was too this. He was too this. He was too cocky. But that cockiness came onto the field, and that's what made him terrific, at least in college.
Really great to talk to you. Thanks so much for your insight, Buzz Bissinger.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Author Buzz Bissinger joining us from Long Beach, Washington.